Today's topic, the financial checklist for physicians. That's right, we're coming at you with 10 great things that you should walk through, and ideally, you can put a check mark beside all 10 of these. Some of them will be the usual stuff, disability insurance, estate documents, but some of them will be out of the ordinary, like what are your goals? When do you want to achieve financial independence? So a good mix of the hard facts with some of that soft side of money. So stay tuned, that's all coming up next. First up, what are your goals? And while Finance 101, at least from the financial planning side, we don't ever really want to ask the open-ended question, what are your goals? We really want to kind of peel back that onion slowly. But in the context of this YouTube video, I want you to think through your goals. Is this a retire at the traditional 65? Is this financial independence at 45? Is this, hey, we want to have a vacation home? Is this sending the kids to private school? Is this sending them to the best colleges in the country, in the world? You need to sit down and plan out your goals, at least to have a blueprint. The good news is you can change this. It's okay. You can pivot. All good financial plans know that there is going to be plenty of course corrections, but you at least need to sit down and talk about those heavy hitters. Take some time, whether it's just you, whether it's you and your spouse or significant other. You need to start here because without the map, we have no idea where we're going. So talk through those goals, talk through some of those longer term plans. Next up, figure out where your money is going. Another way you can say this is, what is your budget? What does the money coming in look like? What does the money going out? I know budgeting is not a favorite topic for all, but I do suggest and recommend, no matter where you are in this journey, that you get in the habit of budgeting. It doesn't have to be a weekly thing. Heck, it doesn't have to be monthly. If you could get into quarterly, or maybe you do it once per year, you get those annual credit card statements, you do all your spending on the credit cards, it's your chance to kind of walk through what's crazy, what's not crazy. But in a perfect world, you get into the habit of at least knowing where your money's going, because if you don't know where your money's going, you're likely having some holes in that boat. We want to get those plugged up as soon as possible. Some great technology that we list in the blog post, which you'll also find below in the show notes here. So two good ones that we use quite a bit is one called Tiller, and then the other one is called YNAB, which stands for You Need a Budget. If pen and paper is not your thing, or if you wanted something a little bit sexier than just a basic Excel spreadsheet and you want more things automated, check out some of that technology there. But I don't care how you do it. Just please do it. Start to build a budget, update that budget, make it something fun, make a date night out of it. But you got to be budgeting. Even if it's once per year, I'm still proud of you, but get in the habit of budgeting at least every now and then. Number 3, develop a plan to pay off your debt. At the highest level, I want you to tack bad debt first. I usually label bad debt as credit cards, maybe personal loans. Now with rates going up, can I get more aggressive on car loans? I could get more aggressive on car loans, but you just want to have a path forward. And then this also can include the big stuff, right? Your student loans. If you're going for public service loan forgiveness, well, we probably have that pretty organized. But if you're going for private payoff, are we paying them off in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years? So you want to have a game plan for all these forms of debt. And then obviously your mortgage, where in the past, if you locked in a 30-year mortgage at those beautiful 3% rates, you're probably not going to be too aggressive there, but maybe you still want to get rid of your mortgage at some point. So maybe there's a conversation to be had there. But the higher those rates go, as the time that I'm recording this video, the 30-year mortgage is now essentially approached and hit 7%. That then may become a little bit more pressing of an item on that debt payoff goal. But for the most part, when we're thinking about being aggressive on a debt game plan, we're looking towards that bad debt first. But the key takeaway here is no matter what debt you have, maybe you have none, I'm proud of you, but if you do have some debt, just make sure you have a good payoff plan set up for that debt to get it out of your way. Number 4, disability insurance and life insurance. Why is this number 4? Well, let me tell you why. If you have an accident or an illness and you can't go to work tomorrow, your financial plan is likely in some trouble. Whether you're a dual income household or if you're the sole income provider, then we're really in trouble. But good disability insurance, especially for our physicians, that true ONOC disability, this is what we're looking for here. You need to ensure what is most likely your largest asset. What is that? Well, it's your ability to wake up and go to work every day. So you want to make sure you have good, true ONOC disability in place here. I also plug in life insurance here. I usually describe life insurance as if someone is relying on your income, you need life insurance. You need some form of term life insurance here. Keyword there, term life insurance, not permanent life insurance. But if someone is relying on your income or if someone co-signed on your loans, you need to have some term life insurance in here. And this is where, we kind of get into that risk management side. But easily number 4 on the list, I could easily put this as number 1 as well. But make sure you are securing your future earnings potential, aka disability insurance, and or that future income potential with life insurance for anyone that is relying on your income. So number 4, disability insurance, life insurance. Number 5, one of my favorites, the emergency fund. Here's the thing with the emergency fund. You could Google search how much should I have in my emergency fund. You're probably going to have about a million different answers. So I'm not saying my answer is correct. I'm just going to give you our guidelines that we follow. So we're a little bit more aggressive. We usually say about 6 months of your net income. So your total pay minus what you pay in taxes to Uncle Sam and the crew. That's the number that we like. Now, keep in mind that we are usually working with a little bit younger clientele. So I say a lot more large life events pending, but also in there, I just like having a little bit of extra cash because of how we kind of build out 2 separate buckets. So one of those buckets is still invested. So that's why I'm always okay with having a little bit of extra liquidity per se. Sometimes you'll see anywhere to 3 to 6 months of expenses. I think it even depends on what type of career path you're in. If you are a business owner physician, you might want to have more because you're running an entire business. If you're just W-2 traditional academic medicine, maybe you're comfortable with a lower number there. You plug in kids, I'm usually going to get a little bit more aggressive there. Maybe you're not even just caring for your kids, maybe you're caring for your parents as well. I'd also increase it there. So, for the most part, when we talk to our clients, again, physician households, we usually will start with 20,000. We usually kind of ask them, what is their sleep number? What do they feel comfortable with? It usually ends up being a little bit higher than 20. A lot of clients will usually end up getting around 50. But remember, if you're just getting started here, you don't have to hit a grand slam on that first swing here. You can ease into this. If you're watching this video and you're a resident or fellow, start with 1,000. Work your way up to 2,000 and 3,000, 5,000. These are all wins, but you do need to have an emergency fund. You do want to have cash put aside, that it is your true rainy day fund. That number can change with just life events, but also as your income grows, as your family grows. The key takeaway being you want to make sure that you have an emergency fund and you're taking care of that. And if you do deplete that emergency fund for an emergency, you can always replenish that as well. So emergency fund, high on the list, one of our favorite parts of every financial plan, but you definitely want to have an emergency fund here in your checklist. Number 6, determine when you want to be financially independent. You could probably link this back to number 1 on knowing your goals. I even noted this topic in there, but understanding where your finish line is going to be vital for all of your retirement planning. Your plan is going to look completely different if you say, hey, I want to be financially independent at 55 compared to 65. You might be thinking it's only 10 years. How big of a difference can it be? A lot. It can be a very large difference depending on a lot of things, whether that's just the market returns, whether that's the spending, whether that's inflation. There's a million factors that come in there. So you need to know where your target is, whether it's you building your own plan or obviously working with a financial advisor and they're kind of working it backwards for you. But this is one of those ones where you want to at least know where the finish line is so that you can start to work backwards. The good news is you can change it, right? It's okay. We can move things back. We can move things forward. Maybe the market's performing better and you might be able to retire sooner. Maybe they're not performing that great and we have to start kind of pivoting it backwards or increasing your savings or reducing your spending. There's a million different ways to kind of fix things up if things start to go bad or good. So keep that in mind, but you want to work backwards here. At least have an idea of where you want that finish line to be. So that's our number 6 here. Know where your financial dependence is going to fall, or at least ideally fall. Number 7, take advantage of your qualified retirement accounts. Think of this as your 401k, your 403b, maybe you have a 457b plan in there. These are what we label as your qualified accounts because these are accounts that you can take advantage of whether they're on a pre-tax basis or maybe they have a Roth option in there. Keep in mind if you're a high income earner, you likely, can't promise, you want to probably lean more towards pre-tax and then start to sprinkle in the backdoor Roth later. But you want to take advantage of these qualified accounts. If you can't max them out, hopefully you can max them out, but if you can't, always try to take advantage of the max. So if your employer says, hey, you got to put in at least 3% to get the full 3% match. At a minimum, do that. Hopefully you can do more, but I also understand life can throw curveballs at you, so you might have to build that up as well. But number 7 on this list is making sure that you are taking advantage of your qualified retirement accounts. Number 8, one of my favorite, if not my favorite account, if you've been tuning into these videos for some time now, the backdoor Roth IRA. So if you are a high income earner and someone has told you in the past that you can't save to a Roth IRA anymore, I have the solution for you. It's called the backdoor Roth IRA. There are some steps involved. You also want to make sure you don't have any SEP IRAs or simple IRAs or other traditional IRAs. This leads to a pro rata issue, which can just essentially blow up the entire process here. But if you don't have any of those, and if you do, there are easy ways to get those cleaned up. You're making a contribution to your traditional IRA, gonna let those funds settle. I call this an important step in what they call the STEP doctrine. And then you're gonna convert it to your Roth. Once you convert it to your Roth, that's when you can get it invested. But if you follow this process, it's pretty much a tax neutral event. Sometimes you get a few dollars of interest that will accrue on there that you have to pay taxes on, but we're usually talking a couple bucks because you're probably making this transition relatively quickly. We usually wait a few days. But if you have not heard of the backdoor Roth IRA, make sure you give it some time in your research, because this is pretty much a slam dunk for all of our financial plans. Any of our clients that have earned income, we are literally looking to do the backdoor Roth IRA almost in the first week of January every year. That's how much we love these accounts, and that's how organized we are with these. But check out the backdoor Roth IRA for today's checklist. Another great account for the checklist, the HSA, the Health Savings Account. Now, you got to have a high deductible health plan. Even if you have a high deductible health plan, just please double check and make sure that it is HSA eligible. Most of them are. Sometimes though, if you get it through the exchange, they might not be. So just double check the math there. But that would be one where you can look to take advantage of this HSA, this health savings account. The reason why we love this account, triple tax benefit. That's right, a triple tax benefit. I should say tax deduction going in, tax deferred while it's in there, and then tax-free when you pull it out, assuming you're pulling it out for qualified medical expenses. If you utilize those funds after the age of 65 to buy anything, maybe at your midlife crisis, maybe a little bit late after 65, but if you're gonna go buy the Ferrari, you can still pull it out there. Only downside is it's taxable. But this is why we give it the cool name, the Stealth IRA, because it looks just like an IRA at this point. You got a tax deduction going in, tax deferred while it's in there, and when you pulled it out, you had to pay ordinary income tax on it. Again, in a perfect world, use it for qualified educational expenses. This is not a 529 plan, this is an HSA. With those qualified medical expenses, you wouldn't pay any taxes on those, and that's why we love that triple tax benefit in there. And also, because these are becoming more readily available, while the money is sitting there, most of those accounts will now give you options to get the funds invested as well. So if you're following along here and you're trying to give yourself some time for compounding interest, you can get those funds invested. And the key here is don't disturb it. So if you do have out-of-pocket medical costs that pop up, pay those out of your pocket. Don't disturb your HSA. Let your HSA do its thing, so that you have a bigger fund later in life for those medical costs as we all get a little bit older and those medical bills go up. So check out the HSA, the Health Savings Account, another great tool, another great part of the checklist here, but check out that HSA. Last, but certainly not least, your estate documents. This is where we yell at you to get your will, your living will, your healthcare power of attorney, and your financial power of attorney. Those are what we call your foundational estate documents, the 4 essentials. Depending on what state you live in, there is a high probability you're going to come out of there with a living trust as well. And that's likely because your probate process is a hot mess. So you're doing your best to expedite the probate process. So you will see these living trusts pop up in a lot of states as well. You got to get these estate documents done. It's not uncommon we present a plan that some clients will, I don't want to say drag their feet, but it might take them a few months, maybe even a year, but it is one that we always end up getting done. So please put this on your to-do list. If you don't have these done, if you haven't updated them for a while, at least check in with your attorney, maybe check in with the paralegal, see if anything's changed. We usually say every 5 to 7 years at least see to make sure all the documents would still actually work. Because remember, in all these situations, you're either dead or you're incapacitated. Kind of hard to work on those documents at that point. So trying to be proactive here. We still to this day see horror stories of extremely, extremely wealthy individuals that die without any of these documents done. You don't need to be wealthy to get these documents done. Every person needs these done. You need your wills, you need your living wills, you need those POAs, those power of attorneys. So number 10, our last one on today's checklist, please get those estate documents completed. And there you have it, the financial checklist for physicians. 10 fantastic ideas, hopefully 10 things that are already in your financial plan. But if they're not, get those things added. Maybe some don't pertain to you. Plug in the HSA, maybe a high deductible health plan doesn't make sense, but there's a lot of ones that should pertain to pretty much everyone. I'd say almost the bulk of those actually pertain to everyone. So work your way through the checklist, see what you can take advantage of. As always, thanks for hanging out with me here for the last 15 minutes or so. If you have not subscribed, now would be a great time to subscribe. Click on the little bell icon. You'll also get a notification every time we release a new video. As always, thanks again for hanging out with me, and I will catch you on the next video.